Clarence Thomas. He took it a step further with his concurring opinion. Because in his concurring opinion, he spoke to wanting to re-examine substantive due process. What is substantive due process? Substantive due process is a principle in United States constitutional law that allows courts to establish and protect certain fundamental rights from government interference, even if the procedural protections are present or the rights are unenumerated, not specifically mentioned elsewhere in the United States Constitution. So that brings up, it brings up contraception for him. He spoke about contraception, same-sex marriage, um, sodomy, and he conveniently left out interracial marriage, which most would put in that same category, um, because it's in the same of, hey, these are like personal body type things you got going on, relationship based things that are probably not a government issue. So let's talk about it, right? So if we put what Clarence Thomas is trying to end, his end goal in a vacuum, I'm not bothered by it. If he wants to say that these are not constitutional issues, so we should re-examine how the court ruled on these cases, sure. But I also think those types of cases should arrive in the court before they're examined, because if they're not, then we should just stay with the precedent that we have there. And it's interesting that he left out interracial relationships because he's black, his wife's white. So he's not trying to, put himself in the fire. But again, if we're looking at this in a vacuum, I don't think there's anything wrong with saying, hey, the court was wrong. Excuse me. No. Let me take that back. If we put this in a vacuum and we say, hey, the way we looked at this in the past is not the proper way to look at it, and the way we look at it now is a much more informed, a much educated way, then let's go look at these things, because it's about getting it right, not being right. But that's in a vacuum. Do I think that's what conservative Justice Clarence Thomas, whose wife, Miss Guinea Pig Thomas, was a major player in the January 6th events on the Capitol, do I think that's what he's actually going for? No, I don't. I don't at all. I do think that what he is looking to do is what the liberal justices are afraid of, is to start a path to stripping Americans of some of their rights. And unfortunately, those Americans are the have-nots. That's what I think. Now, maybe he's just conservative in his beliefs, and he's aiming to make the government smaller. And at times, I think we should have a smaller federal government. I think the states should be able to run themselves within, the parameters that the federal government allows, but not having so much federal, oversight. But if his goal is to ban abortion, if his goal is to ban sodomy, if his goal is to ban contraceptives, if his goal is to, what's the other one I got on here? If his goal is to ban gay marriage, I got an issue with that, because I say, why do you care? As I sit around and play with this and we talk about the 14th Amendment and what the 14th Amendment means, I go, all are we infringing upon the 14th Amendment? Or is the 14th Amendment so unclear that it's hard? It's hard to really figure out what exactly it's speaking to. The 14th Amendment: all persons born or naturalized in the United States are subject to the jurisdiction thereof, are citizens of the United States and of the state wherein they reside. No state shall make or enforce any law which shall abridge the privileges or immunities of citizens of the United States, nor shall any state deprive any person of life, liberty, or property without due process of law. But what we've changed, life, liberty, or property is like life, liberty, in the pursuit of happiness. And what the hell is the pursuit of happiness? I know Kid Cudi's on the pursuit of happiness, but what actually is the pursuit of happiness? Now, we can take the widely accepted belief that is the pursuit of happiness, and sure, we can go with that. But the problem with widely accepted things, once society changes and we push back on accepting those beliefs, how do we judge things, right? I always talk about judging situations in the context in which they happen, because I think that paints more of the picture of the mind of the person who committed the act versus viewing it in the lens of today if the act was committed yesterday. Because every day is a new day. So if we're saying the pursuit of happiness, that means people should be allowed to marry who it is that they want to marry. They should be able to have whatever type of sex that they want to have, so long as it's consensual. They should be able to put whatever means in place that they want to control that sex to the type of sex they want it to be, whether it's sex for conception or sex for sensation. They should be able to control that. And if they don't do that, they should be able to go and get it fixed. Yeah, I guess. Yeah. For me, yeah, I don't care what other people do. And I don't think that it's a government issue. But my problem is that I think the court is operating in a vacuum. I think Clarence Justice Clarence Thomas is thinking in a vacuum, or maybe he's not thinking in a vacuum. He's thinking with what could happen because he would actually like the states to enact those types of laws. And I go, no, no, I think that we should, uh, and this is not based on what is in the Constitution, right? Now I'm getting into things that I think should happen. I, I think that we should be able to do whatever we want to do in our home with our partner that is consensual, and the government be left the hell out of it. And if that's meaning that we need an amendment or we need legal precedents to create that, then I'm all for it. Or if the court says this is none of our business, and then the state say this is none of our business, we still get the answer we need, right? That's what I think, but what do I know? I'm just a big baby. All right, big baby.